Hello guys, welcome to one more video and thank you so much for watching. In today's video, we are going to discuss how useful it is to be a polyglot actually. Because every time I meet someone new and every time they get to know that I'm a polyglot, that I speak 9 languages, their first reaction is usually, wow, amazing. The second comes the question, how did you learn all those languages? And then the third is usually the question, is it really useful to speak that many languages? I mean, what do you have out of it? So today I wanted to answer this third question, is it really useful to be a polyglot and how useful it is? So we are gonna discuss the benefits of being a polyglot and I hope you're gonna like this video. I hope you will find yourself in this video and I would be really happy if you could tell me in the comments what are, according to you, the biggest benefits of being a polyglot, and did it help you a little bit in life or was it useful for you at all? In a case you're not a polyglot and you're just watching these videos for fun or because you're learning a new language, please let me know what do you think are the biggest advantages we polyglots have over the rest of the world. So let's start. So usually the first question that people ask all of us polyglots is whether we can get better jobs and better salary just based on the fact that we speak several languages. I would say that this highly depends on what kind of languages you speak, how many of them you speak, and what kind of job you do. I would say that nowadays, since we live in a globalized world, it is very useful, almost necessary, to speak at least one foreign language, and speaking more than one is even better, because it is extremely hard to find any kind of job only speaking your native language. Of course, this is not true in a case that your native language is English. I would say that you have pretty easy start in that case, but if your native language is not English, you definitely need to speak at least one more or a few more in order to find a good job. Now, one thing that I have noticed, this largely depends on what field you work in. For example, in tourism or in hotel business, the more languages you speak, the better. In a case you work in some kind of corporation or want to work there, I would say it's much better to know 1 or 2 languages on almost native level than to speak 4 or 5 languages on a basic superficial level. This is when you work in hotel industry, for example, it's enough to speak like 4 or 5 languages on a very basic level, enough in order to give people some basic advice about the place they are at. But if you are working in a big corporation, if you're dealing with people from certain country, with business partners from certain country, I would say it's much better to actually speak 1 or 2 languages, but speak them really good, like on almost native level, than to speak like 4 or 5 on a basic tourist kind of level. But in general, I would say that speaking 1, 2, 3, 5 or even more languages is a huge plus when it comes to finding a job. It also looks great on your CV. So if you are a polyglot, if you speak several languages, every time you send your CV somewhere, like people are probably gonna be kind of impressed with you. So you definitely have bigger chances of scoring a good job. Second thing or second situation where being a polyglot is very useful is traveling, being a tourist, or moving to another country. And I'm telling this from my own experience. I know that everyone speaks English nowadays, everything is translated to English, so you can do pretty well only if you speak English only. But I also know that getting to know certain culture or country is impossible if you really don't speak their native language. And I'm telling this from my own experience because I know I know the difference between traveling to a country where you speak the language and traveling to a country where you don't. And I don't know if this happens only to me or to other polyglots as well, but every time I'm in a place where I don't speak the language, I kind of feel like guilty. I don't know if guilty is the right word, but I feel kind of, oh my God, I wish I could speak at least a little bit. I could understand them more, they would like me more. So traveling somewhere and speaking the local language is definitely a huge plus. However, we all travel a lot nowadays, so it's impossible to speak all the languages. But if in a case you are going to move to a certain country for work, personal reasons or any other reason. And if you plan to stay there for at least some time, I would say that you should at least try to learn the local language. And I know this because when I lived in Czech Republic, I learned the language pretty quickly during my first year because I had to. But I know many foreigners who live there for like 3, 4, 5, or even more years, and they never learned the local language. I know how much it limits them, because you will never be fully accepted as the part of a society member. You will never fully integrate it into the new society if you don't speak the language. So if you have a job or lifestyle that allows you to travel a lot, or if you're moving from one country to another every few years, because I know that a lot of young professionals do, I would say that being a polyglot, or at least speaking 2, 3 languages, is definitely going to help you. So that's where being a polyglot is very useful. Third case or third situation where it's very useful to be a polyglot is for doing your brain exercise. And this is something that I have said in like every single video I made about the languages. Learning anything, not only languages, is helping you to exercise your brain. It's kind of a brain gym. And this is not something I made up. This is actually scientific fact, because scientists have proved that learning a new language can help your brain develop certain diseases that happen later in life. For example, dementia. You have lower risks of dementia if you speak several languages, if you're learning them. But as I said, this doesn't only apply to languages. This applies to basically any kind of brain exercise. So like everyone nowadays knows that if you go to the gym and you exercise your body muscles, you're gonna be healthier. But not many people talk about the fact that you have to exercise your brain as well. I mean, I know it's harder, but give it a try, not only with languages, it can be anything else, but do some brain exercise. One more reason or one more situation where being polyglot is very useful is the fact that people will admire you a lot if you speak a lot of languages. I know that this sounds superficial, but I think that we all need a little bit of other people's admiration, and it feels very nice when people are kind of amazed by your intellect or your intellectual skills. So it is really nice when people get to know that you speak several languages and they're all, impressed by you and they start asking you questions. I would say that even though it's useful to be a polyglot in this case, I would say that it largely depends on where do you live and how many languages you speak. Because as we all know, in some parts of the world, it is pretty normal and common to speak 2, 3, maybe even 4 languages. There are countries that have several official languages, so many of their citizens speak all of them, plus English or some other foreign language. So in some parts of the world, it's pretty common to speak like 2 or 3 languages. Nobody's gonna be very impressed with you if you do. But in other parts of the world, it's big success to even speak your native language properly. So I'm not gonna name those parts of the world, but there are countries where most of the citizens only speak 1 language, including mine. So if someone speaks more than that, people are already impressed. But I would say that if you speak like 4 or 5 or more languages, you're gonna be admired pretty much everywhere. So I would say it's pretty useful in this case to be a polyglot. And the last reason or situation where it's useful to be a polyglot is the fact that it's gonna improve your self-confidence so much. And I'm speaking this from my own experience, because nothing makes me so proud of myself and nothing makes me feel so self-confident as the fact that I speak several languages. And I have noticed that with all other people who speak few languages, it really makes you feel better about yourself. And when you feel better about yourself, you look more self-confident, and when you look more self-confident, people like you more, you have more chances at work, you have more opportunities in communication with other people, including relationships, and so on. And I would also like to say that the best thing to be proud of and the best thing to be self-confident about are definitely, or should definitely be, your education and your intellectual skills. Because everything else, like if you are very proud of your physical appearance, it can change, your looks can fade, someone can get sick of your pretty face at some point. If you're proud of having a lot of money, that can be lost as well. Even like having perfect family or perfect relationship can change, but your knowledge and your education, nobody can take away from you. So I would say that this is the best thing to be very proud of and very self-confident. And we all need self-confidence, like dose of self-confidence from time to time, because our feelings are changing. Sometimes we feel very low, very like depressed, but then if you have something to be very happy and proud about yourself, then you will feel better very quickly. So that was my today's video. I hope you liked it. As I said in the beginning of the video, I would really like to hear from you. What do you think about this topic? Do you think that being a polyglot is useful? Was it useful for you in a case you're a polyglot? In a case you're not, what do you think we polyglots, what kind of advantages we have over other people? And let me know your thoughts in the comments. I hope you liked like my channel. If you do, please subscribe, give me a like, a comment, anything. Literally every single action helps. And see you in my next video.